Hello and welcome to Easy Learning with Dr. Salman Khan.
In this video, we will be studying Introduction to Parasitology. These are the following sections under which we will be studying the topic: definitions, associations, transmission, classification, and how to study a parasite. Let's start with definitions. These are the following definitions: medical parasitology, eukaryote, protozoa, metazoa, parasite, host, zoonosis, and vector. Medical parasitology: the study and medical implications of parasites that infect humans. It is a branch of parasitology which deals with parasites that cause human infections and the diseases produced due to them. Medical parasitology is divided into two main branches: protozoology and helminthology. Next, eukaryote. It is a cell with a well-defined chromosome in a membrane-bound nucleus. All parasitic organisms are eukaryotes. Next, protozoa. These are the organisms having a single cell, also called as unicellular organisms. Example: Entamoeba histolytica, Plasmodium malaria. Next, metazoa. These are the organisms made up of multiple cells, also called as multicellular organisms. Examples: helminths or worms. Next, parasite. It is a living organism that acquires some of its basic nutritional requirements through its intimate contact with another living organism. Parasites are living organisms which depend on a living host for their nourishment and survival. They multiply or undergo development in the host. Parasites may be simple unicellular protozoa or complex multicellular metazoa. Then the types of parasite. Basically, we are having three different types: ectoparasite, endoparasite, and free-living parasite. First, ectoparasite. A parasite that lives on the external surface of another living organism. Ectoparasites inhabit only the body surface of the host without penetrating the tissue. Lice, ticks, and mites are examples of ectoparasites. The term infestation is often employed for parasitization with ectoparasites. Next, endoparasite. It is a parasite that lives within another living organism. A parasite which lives within the body of the host and is said to cause an infection is called an endoparasite. Most of the protozoan and helminthic parasites causing human diseases are endoparasites. Endoparasites can further be classified as: first, obligate parasite, the parasite which cannot exist without a host. Example: Toxoplasma gondii and Plasmodium. Next, facultative parasite. This is the organism which may either live as parasitic form or as a free living form. Example: Naegleria fowleri. Next, accidental parasite. Parasites which infect an unusual host are known as accidental parasites. Echinococcus granulosus infects man accidentally, giving rise to hydatid cysts. Next, the aberrant parasites. Parasites which infect a host where they cannot develop further are known as aberrant or wandering parasites. Example: Toxocara canis, or the dog roundworm which infects humans. And lastly, we have the free-living parasite. It refers to non-parasitic stages of active existence which live independent of the host. Example: the cystic stage of Naegleria fowleri. Next, host. It is an organism which harbors the parasite. The host is the organism which provides nourishment and shelter to the latter and is relatively larger than the parasite. In simpler terms, host can be defined as the organism in or on which the parasite lives and causes harm. Next, the types of host. The host may be of the following types. First, definitive host. The host in which the adult parasite lives and undergoes sexual reproduction is called the definitive host. Example: mosquito acts as a definitive host in malaria. Now, the definitive host may be a human or any other living organism. However, in majority of human parasitic infections, man is the definitive host. Example: filaria, roundworm, hookworm. Next, intermediate host. It is the host in which the larval stage of the parasite lives or asexual multiplication takes place. In some parasites, two different intermediate hosts may be required to complete different larval stages. These are known as first and second intermediate hosts respectively. Next, the paratenic host. It is a host in which larval stage of the parasite remains viable without further development. Such host transmits the infection to another host. Example, fish for plerocercoid larva of Diphyllobothrum latum. Next, the reservoir host. In an endemic area, a parasitic infection is continuously kept up by the presence of a host which harbors the parasite and acts as an important source of infection to other susceptible hosts. Example, dog is the reservoir host of hydatid disease. And lastly, the accidental host, the host in which the parasite is not usually found. Example, man is an accidental host for cystic echinococcosis. Then, zoonosis. It is defined as the diseases and infections which are naturally transmitted between vertebrate animals and man. Zoonosis is of following types. First, protozoal zoonosis. Example, toxoplasmosis, leishmaniasis and cryptosporidiosis. Next, helminthic zoonosis. Example, hydatid disease, tiniasis. Third, anthropozoonosis. Infections transmitted to man from lower vertebrate animals. Example, cystic echinococcosis. And lastly, zooanthroponosis. Infections transmitted from man to lower vertebrate animals. Example, human tuberculosis to cattle. Next, vector. It is a living carrier, example arthropod, that transports the parasite from an infected to a non-infected host. So here we complete the definitions. Next, associations. We have the following three associations: symbiosis, commensalism and parasitism. First, symbiosis. It is a Greek word which means state of living together. It is an association in which both the host and the parasite are so dependent upon each other that one cannot live without the help of the other. None of the partners suffer any harm from the association. Next, commensalism. It is an association in which the parasite only is deriving benefit without causing any harm to its host. A commensal nourishes itself on food residues or waste products of the body, and it is capable of leading an independent life. Next, we have parasitism. It is an association in which the parasite derives benefit and the host gets nothing in return but always suffers some injury, however slight the injury may be. The host at the same time offers some resistance to the injury done by the parasite, and there may be some adaptation, that is tolerance, between the parasite and the host. The parasite now loses its power of independent life. Here we complete the association. Next, transmission. So the first mode of transmission is oral. This is the most common method of transmission, and this occurs through contaminated food, water, soiled fingers or fomites. Many intestinal parasites enter the body in this manner, the infective stages being cysts, embryonated eggs or larval forms. Next is through the skin. Entry through skin is another important mode of transmission. An example is of hookworm infection, which is acquired when the larvae enter the skin of persons walking barefooted on contaminated soil. Then, through a vector. Many parasitic diseases are transmitted by insect bite. Example, malaria is transmitted by bite of female Anopheles mosquito. Filariasis is transmitted by the bite of Culex mosquito. Now this vector could be a biological vector or a mechanical vector. Next, the direct mode of transmission. Parasitic infections may be transmitted by person-to-person contact in some cases. Example, by kissing in the case of gingival amoebae and by sexual intercourse in trichomoniasis. Then, the vertical mode of transmission. Mother to fetus transmission may take place in malaria and toxoplasmosis. Then the iatrogenic mode of transmission. This is seen in case of transfusion malaria and toxoplasmosis after organ transplantation. So these are the various modes of transmission. Next, classification. Parasites are fundamentally classified into two groups, protozoa and helminths. Protozoa are further classified into amoebae, flagellates, sporozoa and ciliates, whereas helminths are classified into cystodes, trematodes and nematodes. Cystodes are also called as tapeworms, while trematodes are also called as flukes and nematodes are also called as roundworms. Next is how to study a parasite. This will be dealt in the next video.
If you wish to see more of such videos, do comment below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Also, press the bell icon for early notification of my new videos.